Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Emily and today I am reviewing the visual accessibility of The Sims 4. I am playing today on the PC version of the game, but this game is available on Windows, Mac, PlayStation, and Xbox. It has a lot of downloadable content or DLCs, but as of 2025, the base game is free. The Sims 4 is mainly considered a life simulation game. Whatever you want to do in the game, you can do. But there are three distinct modes you can play in: Create a Sim, or CAS for short, Build, and Live modes. Side note, most people might say live mode, but for this video, I'm choosing to say live. Most players will interact with all three modes, but some people choose just to focus on one of them. Today, we will review them all. When you first start a new game, you'll be prompted to create a character. This is our first time using cast mode. If you click on a part of the body or a piece of clothing, you can choose what the sim looks like and dresses like. There's a lot of crazy things you can do in cast, but I won't get into that today. Next, we usually end up in live mode. This is where your sim is living their everyday life. You can leave them be or control their actions by clicking on items or other sims to interact with them. You can also use their needs levels to determine your choices. Finally, we have build mode. This is where you can buy furniture, decorate, or even build homes and businesses. Each of these three modes together creates The Sims 4. But let's talk about the accessibility of The Sims 4. Could you play it if you're visually impaired? Right off the bat, there is not a lot of built in accessibility in the game itself. The only accessibility feature related to vision is the UI scaling option, which increases or decreases the size of all items on the screen. This works up to a point, but it can quickly mean that things get cut off. But that does not mean this game is not accessible. This game is what I like to call accidentally accessible, which means that it was not made for people with visual impairments, but it has a lot of features built in that can be helpful. The biggest positive to The Sims 4 is that, by design, it is a very high contrast game. The graphics are simple, cartoon like graphics that are fairly easy to distinguish from the background in most lighting conditions. And the best part? If the lighting conditions are bad, you can just go into build mode and add more lights. There's not a ton of transparent elements in this game, which is helpful. The icons are a little low contrast, however. But since the game is so customizable, you could create very high contrast environments if you really wanted to. Just as a bit of a joke and an example, I created this high contrast house. It's very easy to tell where everything is and to find where your sim is at. It is also helpful that you can play the game how you want. There are some generic goals you could attempt to achieve in the game, but ultimately it is a game where you can do what you want. That means that if you just want to build, or create sims, or watch your sim interact with the world, you can. You can play the game in whatever way is easiest or most entertaining for you. There are also several keyboard shortcuts in the game that make it easier to navigate with a visual impairment, so you don't actually have to visually find the options. When you hover over the buttons on the screen, it will show you the keyboard shortcut for it, if there is one available. For example, switching between live and build modes is F1 and F2. You can open the Needs menu with O and the Inventory menu with I. Not every option has a keyboard shortcut, but they can be helpful. I also appreciate that you can pause the game. Many people with visual impairments take longer to get visual information or read text. Pausing the game means you can take as much time as you need to get the information you want. And finally, although there is not a built in magnifier in the game, each platform that it is available on has a magnifier. So, The Sims 4, by design, has a lot of great elements going for it, but there are a few things that I would change to make it even more accessible to people with vision loss. First, as always, an option to increase the text size would be great. The UI scaling in the game helps a little bit, but additional text size options are always a bonus. Second, another thing that would be helpful in this game is to have a screen reader compatible with it. I tried using Windows Narrator with The Sims 4 and it did not identify any of the items in the game. I'm pretty sure it was still focused on my desktop the entire time. Some people with vision loss may have difficulty reading text due to the location of their blind spots, but still could interact with the rest of the game. So, having a screen reader would reduce the barrier of entry for those people. And finally, although I sing the praises of the contrast in the game, it would be helpful to have the option to change that contrast. A lot of people with visual impairments experience something called photophobia or being light sensitive. Think about it as when you're in a dark room and someone turns the lights on, it hurts your eyes and it takes a bit for your eyes to adjust. A lot of people with visual impairments experience the same thing, but to a higher degree, and can be sensitive even to the light from a screen. An option to have a dark mode in this game would be great, as there are a lot of light and white elements in this game. Plus, an option to make these icons higher contrast would be great. So, we talked about the pros and cons of the visual accessibility in The Sims 4. Next, I'm going to rate the game on a 5-star scale based off of each of the major types of visual impairments: color, contrast, acuity, visual field, and total blindness. 1. Color impairments, 2 stars. This game does not have any specific accessibility for people with color impairments, but since it is so customizable, you can make the colors whatever you want. However, a huge flaw I found with this is the commitment to green in this game. Green is typically one of the worst colors to see with color impairments. The icon above your Sim's head, called a plumb bob, changes color depending on their mood. In the colorblind simulator app I used, with certain color impairments, I could tell no difference between a happy green and an angry red. This means that without diligently looking at the needs menu, someone with color blindness may not be able to tell when their Sims are in need of something or upset. 2. Contrast impairments. 3 stars. Again, there is no specific accessibility for people with contrast impairments, but you can make it work by customizing the colors and lighting yourself. I just wish that there was a way to choose the contrast combo for text and menus that worked best for someone's vision. I also wish the icons on the menus weren't as transparent. 3. Acuity impairments, 3 stars. The only accessibility built into this game for people with acuity impairments is UI scaling, which is limited. However, in combination with the magnification features built into all platforms, it's pretty easy to zoom in and figure out what you're looking at. Unless you zoom into a Sim seagull, that doesn't look clear to any of us. 4. Visual field impairments, 3 stars. Again, no built in accessibility for this one, but I think the ability to use keyboard shortcuts to get to different menu options is very helpful. And if you lose your sim out of your field of view, you can right click on their icon and it will center the camera on them and follow them around. 5. Total blindness, 1 star. There is no accessibility in this game for people with no vision. Overall, that means that I am giving The Sims 4 a 3-star rating for visual accessibility. A lot of this comes from incidental parts of the game that weren't created to be accessible, but they are by accident. I think if The Sims 4 developers spent a little time, they could make this game even more accessible to those with vision loss. Well, that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching my second video ever. Let me know, what do you think of The Sims 4? And let me know if there's any game you think I should review next. Thank you again, and I'll catch you next time.